I want to share a little nugget with you that could be very helpful, and it goes to the heart of just the difference between how men and women are wired. Women tend to do a lot of verbal processing. So we have an idea, a thought, a random idea, and it just maybe comes out of our mouth as we're just sort of verbally processing, and we don't expect anyone to act on it. We're just kind of spewing some random thoughts. Well, just a case in point here, many years ago, I think there was a time of uneasiness in our country, kind of like today, and I remember just sort of muttering randomly out loud, oh man, maybe we should just drain our savings account and buy gold bars. Well, next thing I knew, my husband had drained our savings account and bought all gold. And I was shocked, and I'm like, what have you done? And he said, well, that's what you said to do. And I'm like, I don't think so. And he said, no, I clearly heard you say that. And it was like, whoa, my husband acted on my advice when I hadn't even reached that conclusion. I was just kind of muttering some random thoughts as I was just verbally processing. Yeah, it happened another time too in a different way, but and again, no harm really was caused here, but it just reminded me that men are black and white. They hear you say something, they think that's what you mean. Women, we're just sort of, musing about a few things and thinking over a few ideas, and it kind of comes out of our mouth. We haven't settled on anything yet. It kind of reminded me of the Bible story in Genesis 16. Abraham and Sarah, they're getting very old. They had been promised a child by God, but it just hadn't happened. And I can just imagine, I'm extrapolating a little bit from the story here, but we learned that Sarah just muttered something like, well, why don't you just sleep with my maidservant then, and we'll have a child that way. Now, it could have been that she was just doing that female thing, just kind of muttering some random ideas, hadn't really thought it through, but Abraham acted on it. He heard what she said, and he slept with the servant, and it didn't really go that well. Again, women's words, the wife's words are impactful. A husband hears them, they're black and white to him, they're clear, he just acts on them, or often acts on them. So, word to the wise ladies, think before you actually share an idea, a thought. Your husband is probably listening, and if you haven't come to a firm conclusion yet, it might be best to just keep that thought inward, or at least clarify and say, I'm just kind of thinking about a few things, haven't really come to any conclusion yet. At least say that much, because again, men and women wire differently. Black and white for the man. Woman, we're just all sorts of gray and all sorts of spaghetti going on in the head. Yeah, think before you say it out loud.